Hey, and welcome everybody to the showcase race for the Mega Man 9 Go for Broke tournament. Today we have featured four of the top runners that we have here in this tournament. We have Slurpeeninja, who's the current world record holder. We have sorantyan, we have Hypah, and polytopes. So, for anybody that was on the fence about joining this race, joining the tournament, enjoy the run. We're going to try to explain some things on what's going on. You have until next week to sign up. PBs have to be in by February 1st, and then the race will start about a week after. The races will start about a week after that. So we hope you learn a lot from this. You enjoy the race, and good luck to all the runners. Today, with me, I have Mr. Cab on commentary. I'm HJA. First, I wanted to give a special shout out to Speed Gaming for allowing us to run this tournament and have them restream for us. They've been extremely helpful in getting this going, and we look forward to getting this thing rolled out. How are you, Mr. Cab?
I'm doing good. I'm excited for this whole tournament. It's been a little while since we had a Mega Man tournament, and really we've mostly stuck on the NES for these Mega Man tournaments. I mean, Mega Man 11 being the exception because it was brand new. So I'm excited to see us kind of get out there, jump into the deeper end of this series, go into Mega Man 9 here. This was this great game that came out in Mega Man '08. What am I saying here? In 2008, that got us back into the series, and it looks like we're actually getting started here. So I'm just gonna let the action start to speak for itself. Like HA said, join this tournament.
Absolutely. So as you see, the runners start off with Concrete Man. Now, for those of you familiar with Mega Man, you can go in any boss order. And typically, with most games, you're going in sort of a boss weakness order. This game is more similar to Mega Man 2 in that you're not necessarily going in the weakness order. You're going, your primary goal is to finish 5 stages in order to get Rush Jet, as he is extremely useful in the last 3 stages of in Splash Woman, Tornado Man, and Plug Man. Unfortunate that they're from polytopes during the elephant mash.
We were talking about that earlier. That elephant section is probably the most mash-intensive section of the game, and that last one, just with those pits in the way, it's easy to kind of fall in, but Poly by no means out of this. There's a lot of platforming left here.
Yep. Yeah, this game is actually pretty light on the mashing. Most of the mashing is in the first stage here. There's a couple dragons where you have to, mash 5 concrete shots into them. You'll see Slurpeeninja actually use the Buster on the dragon. But aside from that, it's really about movement and shot placement. It looks like Hypah just took a death too. So
yeah, Hypah just shorted a jump onto one of those rising platforms. And, it's going to be Slurpee and Sora here up against Concrete Man. You can see Slurpee making that initial jump to the left to get on top of the first wave of blocks, and otherwise you're going to see our runners just kind of stay right in front of Concrete Man and dare him to shoot them. Those kind of jumps, every time he's about to take an action, you can see they're landing right on top of the blocks. The other 2 attacks that Concrete Man has doesn't really have an impact as long as they're in the air. And, it's a Mega Man game, so you still want to end the fight in the middle of the room.
That's right. Otherwise, he does walk back to the center, and that takes some time. Hypah here now approaching Concrete Man, as is Polytopes once he gets past this little platforming section. Next, you'll see the runners move on to Magma Man. Now, of course, Concrete is not Magma Man's weakness. However, you'll see the reason that we do Concrete first, which is that his weapon has a lot of utility. You could do these mini zips, and it's very useful in this stage in freezing some of the beams that block your path.
Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that Concrete is way too useful for time saves in this stage, as well as getting these little blocks down. You see Slurpee and Sora there kind of getting those blocks up halfway up the wall so they can jump up. Even if you get them lower down, it makes a lot of these jumps that much safer. And here we go.
That's called the double beam skip. It's an extremely difficult trick to do. And it looks like Soren and Slurpee both got it. Next, this dragon usually takes 15 hits to kill, but with concrete shot, only takes 5. And both runners get that done pretty smoothly.
Yep, 2 jumps, easy. Just keep going in the stage. That dragon, it swoops around, and if it gets across the screen, it's going to go off screen for just a little bit. It's a pain. You don't want that to happen. Good to see Slurpee and Sora. I mean, we've got top runners here, but whenever you see those 4-tile wide gap jumps, you still kind of hold your breath for a moment. And how about these beam skips?
Yeah, so in a minute, you're about to see a zip here, and you can, you were 1 pixel to do that. If you do it 1 pixel too far, you'll be dead. If you do it 1 pixel too short, it will just zip you out the other side.
This stage
is probably the hardest one in the game, in my opinion. This and Wily too. I would lean more towards Magma being the most difficult.
Magma Man's attack pattern, pretty easy to actually explain. He either jumps one of these kind of little platforms or 2, and he fires that triple shot every time. We only really have the Buster to hit him with right now, so it's just hit him as often as you can and keep dodging. The hardest part, I'd say, is learning when to walk under him, but yeah.
Yes. Getting into a rhythm is difficult, but once you get it, it's the fight becomes pretty routine. It's a good fight to do Buster only, given that his actual weakness is Tornado Blow, and the game actually does not give you enough ammo to finish him, unless you're lucky enough to get a double hit. So you'd have to switch to another weapon anyway during the fight, even if you had his weakness. Next, we're going on to Galaxy, and I did want to talk about a little bit about the routing here. Galaxy Man third. These runners, again, they're top runners, so they're going there next. However, for any beginners out there that are looking to learn this game, I would recommend doing Hornet third. The reason for that is there's some copters here that the runners, normally you want to avoid them in a casual playthrough. And you're going to be able to see the same, the first one here on Slurpee's screen. He's actually utilizing these to move faster. However, they can drag you into spikes if you lose control of them. There's one especially dangerous one at the on the second to last screen of the game. Hornet Chaser actually kills those copters, so there is a bit of a safety by going Hornet third, as you're not using you don't use Galaxy's weapon, Black Hole Bomb, in Hornet stage at all. So really, you can do either one. You see Polytopes going that route here, which is a smart move during a race setting.
So I usually say this in like other games. You get to the Wily Fortress stages most of the time, and you have this one stage where all you do is use Rush Jet. So I'm kind of happy that this is the Rush Coil stage. Just a lot of jumps in this stage where Rush will save you having to go back and forth with these little teleporters, get you up extra jumps fast. Just makes the stage faster, and you get to see Rush just stand there wagging his tail the whole time. He's just happy to be here.
I find this stage really fun. The boss, obviously, very frustrating. And here's that section I was talking about. That if you miss those jumps, they can drag you right into those line of spikes there. We're approaching Galaxy Man, who is going to be our who's going to be a big primary point of RNG here. Yeah, so we're hoping for 2 swoops. We'll see what happens. Slurpee gets no swoops, and neither does Soren. So what happened there, that's the worst possible pattern. He has a 50% chance of going high and a 50% chance of going low. So what we really want is the 25% chance of going low twice in a row. The difference between best and worst pattern is roughly 5 seconds.
Yeah, if he goes all those swoops and you actually get the kill, he will never do that high in the air teleport pattern. So that's kind of good. Hypah's about to wrap up the stage. Poly actually making very short work of Hornet Man down there.
That was a fantastic
we're about to explain, but still good job.
Yeah, fantastic Hornet fight from him, killing him before he even reached to the center of the stage. All right, 2 swoops for Hypah. You know, he had that early death, but getting that RNG while the other ones did not is definitely going to put him back in this race. 5 seconds right there that he gained. When you
Slurpee and Sora here in Hornet Stage Man, Horror Stage Man now, what? So first section, more Rush Jet, getting through these little bombers, and we're about to get to everyone's favorite mid-boss, the flower here. Just this arm of flowers that come around in a clockwise pattern, and you need to land, I think it's 5 concrete shots. Both runners doing a good job getting in its face in an awkward position. This screen, the way these platforms kind of retract, there's some precise movement that's going on here. Just time it right, because if it takes too long, those will roll up, push you off the left side, and there's a lot of spikes down there. It's not going to end well. A few shots through the middle of the scissors. It's really nice. And you saw the mid-boss use concrete, that last section they use concrete, and this is all the nut menu so that they can hit this flower right there in the wall. So rather than climbing the ladder, they can hop over that barrier quickly. So weapon energy starting to already be a factor in this game.
It's very it's routed pretty precisely to get it right. Hypah having a little bit of trouble with the flower.
That flower is just no fun.
Oh, it's definitely a pain.
One thing about the magma bazooka we didn't really talk about yet. It fires 3 shots. If you hit with all 3 shots at once, or even only 2 of them, they will all do damage. So Hornet Man is where this really plays out, but it also kind of makes magma the ultimate backup. You want to get in enemies' faces and hit with as much of the bazooka as possible.
Yeah, the damage stacks with it. So a fully charged magma bazooka, if you can hit all 3 on Hornet Man, really melts them. Next, we have we're on to Jewel Man, where we have again more RNG in the form of a cheese ball.
Hypah walked into the big hot mama.
Ooh.
Yeah, the first section of Jewel Man is just kind of walk through it. You do get to start seeing some weapons showing off here, though. Slurpee's using the Buster to try to not menu, but he's taking some hits that might negate that, whereas Sora just used concrete to easily take out the enemies. Both of them are going to menu to Hornet Chaser for this next section. Before we get to the cheese ball, where Hornet is still going to be useful.
So yeah, two different routes or 2 different strategies to think about. You know, if your mashing is a little subpar, you know, using that concrete strat that Soren is using is definitely a viable option. Otherwise, yeah, you can just mash through that first screen. Polytopes, by the way, also got no swoops from Galaxy Man, so Hypah was the only one there with any luck from him.
This last section of Jewel Man stage, I mean, there's a little bit of scariness going on here just with the swings. This jump Slurpee and Sora are getting to now is a lot easier than it looks, but it's still terrifying. There's just a lot of spikes in this stage, so you have to be a little careful.
Casually, that swing jump is terrifying.
Casually, do not do that in one swing. Just walk the other way.
Exactly. So they're going to be trying to place a black hole bomb here, where you can get 5 hits right away on Jewel Man. This is, I believe, this was actually TAS only for a while, and the runners discovered a way. I believe it may have been Slurpee that figured out a way to do it.
Sora saving a couple of maybe 1 second there, because Slurpee had Jewel Man walk off the right-hand wall. Part of that fight, too, I believe Jewel Man jumps when you jump. So you can kind of use that to get Jewel Man out of the black hole bomb's range and then re-enter it to take that extra hit. That's kind of the premise of those fights.
So really good race right now between Slurpee and... so here we could possibly see a route diverge. You can technically go plug next. Both runners, Slurpee and Soren, are going to splash next.
And of course, we skipped the cutscene, so we didn't get to see it. They have Rush Jet now. We've defeated 5 robots.
That's right. Also, ignore the verses. They're all versing each other. The verses will be there when if we have a 2x2 race. Or, yeah, 2x2.
Polly taking out Jewel Man. Slurpee and Sora up there. About to get to Mega Man 5's favorite trick, the bubble skip.
And they're so close right now. I mean, they're just a couple seconds apart. So this bubble skip, not as complicated as the Mega Man 5 bubble skip. There is a tricky little jump there right at the end. If you jump too early, you can bonk your head on those spikes and you will be dead. You can also accidentally summon Rush too close to the spikes and he will just despawn.
Yeah, and it's not too bad there to kind of wait on another bubble. Of course, then you're waiting. But certainly there are safer ways of doing that you just saw them do the fastest way.
Yep.
This is a speed run after all.
There's these rush jet jumps in this game. You just saw them there to skip using those platforms. Rush jet matches your vertical position. So as he falls, when you jump, as you meet, that's when he stops. So you kind of have to time when you jump up so to get him to stop so that you can land on it, because you don't want him to spawn too high so that you can't, or too low in that case so that you can't reach the ladders. So it is kind of a tricky thing to learn.
Both runners there having really good Splash Woman fights. She kind of dodges around the room, sends other obstacles for the Hornets to home in on. So there's kind of a pattern to those Hornet shots so that they end up in the right place to hit her.
And you'll see Hypah actually went to Plugman instead of Splash Woman. So that's what we're talking about with the roots there. So this stage, Plugman, and that you'll see Slurpee and Soren getting into, is based off of a global timer. It's kind of called Perfect Plug because either you do it perfectly or you lose potentially a lot of time. So the Yoku blocks, you want to skip the Yoku blocks because they're slow, but they're all based on a global timer. So you need to run the stage the exact same way in order to get the best cycle of Yoku blocks. At the end, you can sort of be on this last screen here that that Hypah's about to approach. You'll see that you can kind of be blocked off right there from hitting that ladder. So they're trying to plan their route so that they can jump right up to that ladder as soon as they possibly can.
And you can see Slurpee here in the first section of the stage actually going without Jet. And I've seen that in his PB video too, where Sora used Jet early on. The reward is that Slurpee has a little extra ammo here. I'm not sure how this is going to play out. But at least right now, there's a couple of tile lead for Sora. There it goes.
Yeah. So you'll notice like little differences where Soren uses the Rush Jet on the second step there, whereas Slurpee can use it right on that first step. And then he can use it as a platform to not damage boost off those little sparks. So yeah, it probably evens out at the end of the day. Slurpee's strat might be a little bit faster, but there's definitely pros and cons to
Plugman, not that hard of a robot master as far if you have Jewel especially. The hardest part is actually making sure you don't use the shield too soon. Like a lot of robot masters, the shield weapon is exact ammo to take out the robot master that it's the weakness for. So just be careful with it. The nice thing is that Plugman's the plug balls will bounce off the shield. So the only thing that's going to get rid of it in that room is either if you shoot it and miss or Plugman himself.
That's right. You don't want to be shooting into its iframes. All right, so next we're heading into Tornado Man. And speaking of global timers, there's one on this as well. They're going to be going for this strat here that Nero found. I believe it only saves maybe 30 or 40 frames. However, it does save frames, so you want to do it if you're trying to go fast. For a race, maybe you don't want to do it, especially if you're just learning the game. But they timed it so that battery would be right there by the time they reached it. And they're jumping on the batteries, spawning Rush while on them. It's all pretty tricky. But
yeah, this all works out so that you have more Jet for later in the stage. There's a screen later. It's a very similar battery screen, except it has rain pushing you to the left. If you've seen Toadman stage in Mega Man 4, you know what I'm talking about. This middle section, there's going to be a lot of damage being taken here, but the goal is to stay on Rush to make a couple of jumps go faster.
So we're about to see the rain section. We'll have the rain going in 2 different directions. Here, you want to avoid jumping as much as possible. That's why we ride Rush Jet. As when you're in the air, the rain does push you backwards.
And yeah, if you're looking at this and you're like kind of terrified from a racing perspective, I mean, the best thing to do is you just have to walk further up to those batteries. You should still have enough rush that you never have to ride a battery if you don't want to. And I'm at least hearing here that the time save for doing this strat as opposed to just taking rush the whole way, it's really a very minor one in terms of number of seconds, if even.
That's right. Yeah, so if you're just learning the game and you don't want to be jumping on batteries, that is certainly viable just to take rush across. And you got what's known as Tornado Bro. That's when he just stays on the ground. It looks like Soren's getting Tornado Bro also. So no luck on Galaxy, but Tornado Man hooking you up as usual, as always. Yeah. Galaxy
Plug Ball likes to stay on the ground as a weapon that doesn't really have any aerial properties to it other than going straight down when you fire it. So Tornado Man not hovering in the corner of a room, really good for getting through that fight quickly. Fun fact, there's a cutscene there, and I believe it's an image taken supposedly from the last Robot Master you defeated. So all 8 silhouettes are there for that image in the end, except the one you just killed.
So on to the Wily stages. Again, for those of you familiar with Mega Man games, the weapon ammunition does not refill. So you have to manage it through all 4 Wily stages here. But we do have an M-Tank coming up in Wily 3.
Yeah. First couple of stages do have a lot of Rush Jet usage, which honestly feels a lot like other stages, other Mega Man games. The big thing here is you see these kind of big fan platforms. The game's sort of intention is that you're going to use Tornado to make them all kind of, activate the fans, bring the platforms up. But we have other plans for that Tornado ammo. And we could use Jet, so why not? It's faster.
We're going to see 2 very different strats coming up on this dragon. It's going to be pretty fun. Pay attention to Slurpy's screen here on the top left. He's going to be mashing the dragon with Buster. Wow. Oof. Insane mash before he even gets to the left side.
Soren, though, using Rush Coil to get up and get some early concrete shots in before moving forward.
Yep. Technically, that kill is faster. However, Slurpee saves that time by not having to menu.
Yep, menuing counts. You can see these Rush Jet through the lava beam sections. The intention is that you use cement shot there, just like we did in Mega Man stage, to kind of skip those beams. You can actually walk on them while they're frozen. But again, we have Rush. Why not? That spike screen that Soren's on, you can actually do a full jump off that ladder. You won't hit the spikes from underneath. So it's not quite as scary as it looks.
Right here we have the worst enemy in Mega Man history. Spike pushers. Again, I think we'll see 2 different strats here. I believe Slurpee will switch to Plug. Meanwhile, Soren will switch to Tornado. Tornado being the more traditional route. Although it looks like Slurpee's having some bad luck. You do not want them to push. And they certainly are at this point.
So what's the logic with Plug Ball?
It pushes them a little bit further. So it makes the fight a lot more consistent. It's probably not as fast as the Tornado strat, but it does make things more consistent. Soren did just take the lead, though. However... Oh, nope.
Did he?
Slurpee did. Slurpee did. It is very close. It's still within a second or 2, though.
They've been within 5 seconds pretty much the entire game. This is actually really good.
And Hypah and Polytopes are pretty close together as well, so...
Again, different weapon choices here, even if they're going the same way. Slurpee using the cement shot to get these jumps off to make it really that much... It's harder and easier at the same time because you can destroy some of those enemies. Jet, kind of, as long as you can make the jumps, not that bad. but I believe they're both going to end up switching to concrete later anyway, like right here.
Yep, it is faster to use concrete. Fortunately, Slurpee has that extra concrete to go through the stage with it and not have to switch because he didn't kill the dragon with it. So that allows him to use it and not have to, again, it saves a few menus. Each menu is about 1.5 seconds.
And now this whole underwater section. Wily 2 has a lot of just really evil jumps in it. You saw that jump in between all the spikes right before the flower. Probably the worst jump in the game.
Yeah.
Might even declare it the worst room in the game. I'm not sure yet. That jump Slurpee just went to over those spikes, kind of walking out from under a platform, that's another sort of killer jump where it's really easy to just bonk and not be able to make it, and you're just stuck.
Yeah.
I think everyone knows it too. Those platforms that are being projected down don't actually exist. You'll fall right through them.
So
Go
again,
ahead.
more coil usage to skip climbing ladders because ladders are slow. So.
Some nice skipping of ladders here, and it's going to be useful too just to get the first few shots in on our boss here. What's the official name of this thing anyway?
Mega Mech Shark.
Mega Mech Shark. So this is actually like 3 sections. You have 3 life meters you have to tear through here. The first one with these missiles, you just have to shoot the missile bay, but it doesn't reopen until you've destroyed all the missiles. So it's really effective to jump up and get early shots. These droppers, the hardest part is the spikes underneath. They're not instant death, but they do hurt a lot. So be a little careful there. I've seen Tornado get used there a few times too, as you're getting used to the fight to still get through it fast.
Yep. If you didn't use Tornado in the Spike Pusher fight, a lot of beginners, they do use Tornado in that middle phase to avoid taking damage, because damage to the shark hurts on all 3 phases. So if you don't go in with enough health, that is a a run killer.
It's a bad thing, TM.
Oh yes. So next we're on to Wily 3. We don't have traditional auto scrollers in Mega Man 9, but this is about the closest we'll get to it. Our anti-gravity section here, where it is required that you dance to validate your run.
Since shooting pushes you, you can't really shoot to the music, so you have to turn to the music.
Yes.
At least you have good music to ride the anti-grav with.
I feel like this is one of the more underrated. This was always one of my favorites.
All the tracks in this game are actually really good.
True. So we're going to be coming up here to the Sniper Joe room on Slurpee and Soren's screen here. This room is very tricky to do quickly. And yeah, looks like Slurpee did a good job with it. Soren also plowing through. Nice. You don't want to get caught up damage boosting off of each one. It can really slow you down.
See also my run. So Slurpee's going to do something kind of interesting here. They're both going to transition to the next screen all the way on the left, and that little helicopter thing is perfectly positioned to get you an M tank. You can get it without the helicopter, but have fun. And they're both going to use it immediately here. Certainly, you could hang on to it and try and preserve your basically extra emergency E-tank plus weapon refill as long as you can. But if the longer you hold on to that, the more you're going to have empty weapon meters and refights. You're going to be sitting there waiting for them to refill. So at this tier of runner, yeah, just use it immediately.
Absolutely.
Oh, plus, no!
Oh, death on Soren.
I missed how that happened.
That room is really scary. It is not a lot of precise jumps with precise laser trident placements. So here on Slurpee's screen we have Easy Devil.
Twin Devil.
It's free. It's not
Pause canceling the black hole bomb.
Got it. Easy every time.
Yep, it's all timing, like a lot of these. It's actually really tight to be able to get that 5th shot in. It's easy to get 3, even 4 hits, so you can 2-cycle it.
Oh,
1 cycle, though, oof.
Hypah with the death. Again, this stage, I mean, a lot of it doesn't look that bad, but those jumps are way harder, especially casually, than they look. It's a tough thing to manage.
Soren's a little low on Trident. It won't be that bad, but he's got to be aware of what's going to happen there.
So another perfect stage, like I was talking about with Plugman, Slurpee's going into Wily 4, and he's going to try to manipulate Galaxy Man's pattern to give him 2 swoops.
Poly, oh, go ahead.
You're going to notice that he pauses before going into the first teleporter. Hopefully, the result of that will be that he gives 2 swoops. And, nah, he got 1. That's all right. It's not an easy manipulation to do.
Soren not able to get the Easy Devil. I did want to call out Polytopes was using Tornado in that last section where we saw the Trident from Slurpee. It's another equally valid strat. It takes care of those enemies a lot faster because you're not shooting lasers through their shields. You just have to be a little careful that when Tornado is active, you do jump higher, and there is a spike ceiling there.
Poly got the Easy Devil, so he has made up some ground on Sorantyan.
And this is still the Wily Casino, so anyone can win.
That's true. Theoretically, Wily can stay up and never come down. Very unlikely. It's still, I would say it's still definitely a race here. I've seen people lose 45 seconds up to a minute on the casino itself. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, most of the refights are the same fight. We do have Magma's weakness now, as along with Concrete, so there's that. Magma, I kind of mentioned this earlier, you want to use Magma Bazooka as the ultimate backup for everybody. That includes Magma himself. And fortunately, Hornet, who's actually weak against Magma, is right next to Magma's capsule, so it's really convenient. And as much as the Concrete fight is slightly different because you have the weakness, Laser Trident is a straightforward shot, just like the Buster, so...
Sorantyan there, he unfortunately used a dual satellite into Plugman's iframes and had to switch weapons. As mentioned earlier, there's perfect ammo for that fight. Slurpee is on to Wily Machine, the egg phase, and he makes quick work of that.
You do have to reflect those eggs back in. The Trident's hitbox just makes it a lot easier than using something like the Buster. Phase 2, very nice, because Phase 2 is where the damage gets done in that fight, and it's not the easiest thing to hit it with Concrete.
Easy Devil for Hypah there.
Very nice. The sort of tracking shot you see there, Slurpee just standing underneath the capsule and jumping straight up. I guess that counts as jumping straight up.
Wow.
I have not seen that kill.
Unbelievable. 3209 on SRC, or SRL rather. Wow.
That is a kill.
That was a kill. He spawned high and he decided to just go for it. Use Rush Coil, jump up, and wow. GG to Slurpeeninja.
Well done, Slurpee. Now Sora in here. Let's see if we can get this audio up. Now, I kind of mentioned this earlier, it's really easy to hit these eggs with the Trident. You can still technically do the fight with the Buster, but it's a lot harder, and you're kind of seeing that play out here.
Yeah, so unfortunately, because of that Wily 3 death, He had to utilize more trident for going through that section again. So yeah, he did have to use Buster for that portion of the fight. The laser trident has a bigger hitbox. So what happens is, because of its bigger hitbox, you can actually get what's called double hits, which makes the egg phase a lot easier.
We have a race here between Polly and Soren.
Yeah, we do. Although we got a great pattern there from Soren's screen, and he's down again, so... looks like Soren's got it. Nice. GG,
Very
Soren.
nice.
33-41. And it looks like Polly will soon to follow here.
Hornet still works.
Nice. That looks like a 33 for polytopes as well. I know SRL said 3401, but I think he was a little late to split.
We'll spot him the 33.
It was a 33 in my book.
Just the reminder, you are not done until you actually pick up the chip there. There's a lot of Mega Man games where it's whenever you get the last hit on Wily, you actually have to get that chip.
So, finishing off with Hypah, he's doing a great job as well. I mean, honestly, all these times are great times. This tournament is open to all skill levels. All 4 of these runners have fantastic times. I believe all 4 of them have times that are sub 33, PBs that are sub 33. With the RNG in this game and the difficulty of it, honestly, getting a 34, 35 can happen to anybody. I think that's the great thing about this tournament is that really anything can happen. Anything can happen to anybody. So all skill levels are encouraged to join and learn the game. It's a great game. Personally, it's my favorite. Yeah, and I hope you guys join. You have a week to do so.
Yeah, definitely join the tournament. We're close to, I think, 20 signups. We're like maybe 18 or so. We have registration open for at least another week here, up till the 25th. You know, why wait? Just sign up now. Seating's going to happen on the February 1st, and we will get started about a week after that for real.
Yep. PBs have to be in by February 1st. So, you know, go ahead, join, grind out the game, learn it, and yeah. See Hypah here.
Hypah wrapping up here, just waiting for this Wily machine to get into a good position, really. We've got to be a little careful.
Not having the best luck here.
That dodge is still free.
One more shot should do it if he comes down.
Get out the Hornets.
Oh no, not for this.
Never? Okay.
Only when there's 1 HP left. Got him.
There we go.
Alright, GG Hypah. Woo, that was close. Alright, well, GG to all the runners. You guys, they all did fantastic. I think we saw a lot of different strategies. We saw high-end gameplay here from all 4 of them.
And I mean, more than that, we saw that, you know, as always, we say this, anything can happen in a race. There's
true.
a lot of tricky sections here that, you know, you have your fast strats, but there's a lot of high risk, high reward as well. You might be your Slurpee and still crank out practically a 31 or like a 32 flat in the race setting, but it's entirely likely anybody can win these, and that's before we even get to Wily. And
oh, yeah,
Slurpee
absolutely.
is playing something else entirely now.
This is still Mega Man 9. It's the this is the special stage. Showing us some of the DLC. So I want to go ahead.
Go ahead.
Just want to thank Speed Gaming for again letting us throw this showcase race on there, and for being extremely helpful getting this organized and up and running. Again, thank you to the runners. And are we going to do interviews for this, or do you think?
I'm not sure if anybody's gotten an invite or not, but at this point, we might just be calling it a day.
Sounds good to me.
But yeah, we're doing just one race here for the showcase. Tournament races are going to be best of 3, just because there's so much RNG that can happen with Wily. We don't want at least one instance of that to be the decider of who moves on.
Exactly. I mean, like I said, you can potentially lose a minute just to that capsule fight there, and get some pretty bad luck. But yeah, we wanted to showcase the race, and I think these runners did that, and yeah, it was fun to watch. It was fun to commentate.
Let's do that. Don't forget, follow the runners. We just got all the links out there in chat. It's Slurpeeninja, sorantyan, polytopes, and Hypah down there. And you can follow us if you want to. If you want to follow HGA and myself, but I'm looking for one more link I want to just throw out there for everybody. If we can get the actual challenge link or the actual, yeah, that's the link I really want. If you want to join this tournament, get in there. Anybody can win this thing. We want to have just, a big enough turnout here to have a lot of fun. You know how these things work. Play some more Mega Man, everybody.
Absolutely. All the Mega Man tournaments I've been a part of have been extremely fun, so I'm sure it'll be a blast with the best Mega Man game. Has to be, right?
This isn't Mega Man V, but I guess I'll allow it. So, all right. That's all I've got.
That's all I've got.
in a couple weeks.
Sounds good. Thanks again, everybody. Thanks for watching, and have a good evening.
See everybody later.